Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about COVID-19 and a different topic of what are the prognostic factors that are coming out for COVID-19. And really, to clarify, we understand that SARS coronavirus 2 is the causality behind the symptoms of COVID-19. So COVID-19 is sort of the symptom complex of cough, fever, shortness of breath, anosmia, and all the other symptoms that you feel. I want to talk about the 873,000 people that are diagnosed and the 43,000 deaths, along with the recovery population of close to 184,771. So if you take a look at this, we'll find that basically what are the prognostic factors? And one of the serious prognostic factors that's thought as a correlation right now, and will probably turn into causality behind increased mortality, is what? Well, it's the name of this video. It's smoking. And I wouldn't doubt if vaping is going to be a close second, because sort of the thought process of doing anything, inhaling any sort of substances into your lungs may actually be causing different sorts of reactions in the lungs and causing actual death. But we're going to talk about smoking because that's what this paper is about. So in Harvard, there is a gentleman by the name of Vardavas who took a look at a bunch of papers. And this is part of the dental department that's there. And what they did is they took a look at a bunch of papers, but some of the papers that really stood out are the Zoo paper. The Zoo paper. Now, Zoo et al. Basically took about 191 total patients. And out of these patients, 54 died. All right, so these were the COVID-19 patients, 191, 54 died. And he found that in those people, in the death group, 9% of these people were basically current smokers versus those who are alive group, which is the 137. So 137 plus 54 is going to equal 191, I hope. And then basically out of this group, 4% were current smokers. So there was an increased risk in the death group, or increased correlation in the death group, of 9% smokers. Okay, does that make sense? So that's one paper that found it. So usually when you just find one paper, you're like, okay, that's a good idea. But now we have another paper. And the other paper is the Zhang paper. And the Zhang paper talks basically about 140 total patients. There's total. All right, 58 have a severe clinical course, and 82 have a mild clinical course. And those that have a severe clinical course, you have a strong correlation with close to 3.4% are current smokers, and 7% about are former. Whereas in a mild group, 0% are current smokers, and 3.7% are former. So are you understanding that basically there's a correlation here of 10% of these people, so that's about 6 people in this group, had a correlation with smoking. So this is a subset in the population. And here, in the mild group, about 4% of the people had it. So about 4% of 82, 2.7% of 82, or let's just round it up to 100, is about 3 people or 4 people here. So that's an interesting correlation. Now we go on to the biggest study, and the biggest study that talks about this is actually quite astounding, where you have 1,099 patients, and this is by Wong et al. And here there is a 25% of those people who had a severe outcome, which is 173. So 25%, or 1/4 of 173 people, were either current or former smokers. And so the breakdown actually goes on to say that 16% of these people were current smokers. So right now, if you are exposing yourself or other people to smoke, there is a pretty strong correlation that you're probably increasing the risk of a severe outcome. Severe outcome. And so basically, what you worry about is that is it actually possible that you might be killing yourself and your relatives by smoking right now in the COVID-19 era? And the answer is probably yes. Can this extrapolate to vaping? Maybe. Maybe this can extrapolate to vaping. Putting anything that would put your lungs at risk right now is probably not a good idea. And secondhand smoke is definitely not good either. So this is not to attack smoking or the smokers or to create a bad feeling for you inside, because it's not a moral judgment. It's just trying to tell you that, look, if there's a time for you to stop smoking, it's probably right now, because chances are you're going to get COVID-19. It's not if, it's when. And if you do get COVID-19, you want to be prepared, and you don't want to have a severe clinical course. You want to avoid it. And the best way to avoid that severe clinical course right now is to stop smoking. Because we know that in each of these studies, there was a bigger correlation of population in the severe group. Now, one study we did at Henry Ford Hospital was taking a retrospective population of those who actually were meditating. And of those people that actually meditated, there was close to a 85% chance of quitting without the need for continued meditation. That's a pretty strong number in 80 people that we were able to isolate. And this was at our Henry Ford study. So let me teach you one way in which you can start to stop smoking. And I'll teach you one easy way, and basically this has to do with the crux of yoga. And so what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the crux of yoga. So just bear with me. Yoga means to connect. So if you are Christian, you connect through Jesus. If you are Muslim, it's Allah. If it's Vaishnava, there's another word. If it's, you can use KneeTie. If it's Buddhist, you can use Om. Whatever you choose, you can do over and over and over and over again, and that will ultimately free you. And that's a meditation. Just a simple repetition can ultimately free you from smoking, and that might decrease your chance of death if you start now, especially if you don't have COVID-19 and you're not in the ICU and you're not comatose. So it's really important that you start now. One way to do this, our group is called KneeTie Go Run Go, is just to say KneeTie over and over and over again. KneeTie, 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 over and over and over again. And that will probably help you to stop smoking and to start your journey to stop smoking. So if you want to find out more information, come over and join our group for the KneeTie Smoking Cessation Group, and we will help you to stop smoking. Thank you for listening. Take care.